Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest on Storm Eunice as it does move away from the British Isles. Now we are past the worst of the storm, but we do still have some hazards coming up in the next few days. We still have an amber warning in force for Storm Eunice over the course of the next few hours, and we have multiple yellow warnings over the next few days as it's going to stay pretty stormy. A lot of wind around, and we could see some disruption as well, because remember, some infrastructure, some trees may have not fallen during Storm Eunice, but may have been significantly weakened, meaning a weaker gust come Saturday, Sunday, Monday time could bring a tree down, power lines down. So there is still some disruption probably ahead, but at least we are over the worst of it as of now. So do remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to follow on Twitter as well, the link's in the description. This video will go through the live radar, we'll have a look at some of the stats and some of the images from Storm Eunice so far, and then we'll have a look at the next couple of days and the warnings, of course, associated with that. Now, if we do have a look at the live radar, you can see this big mass of precipitation. This is Storm Eunice. Now, you can see the weather fronts, initial weather fronts that moved through earlier this morning are now spreading out into Norway, down into Sweden, parts of Eastern Europe, Central Europe now. And the centre of the storm is now off the east coast. We still have some very blustery winds. We still have an amber warning, 60, 70 mile per hour gusts possible, but the sort of 80, 90 mile per hour gusts we were seeing earlier have now subsided. Now, the storm actually was perhaps slightly weaker than anticipated, even 12 hours ago. And I mean only slightly. Some of the models were anticipating 80 to 85 mile per hour gusts inland. Realistically, it was around 70 to 75 miles per hour. So luckily, the storm was not quite as severe over sort of central areas, over inland areas. Towards the coast, it was still severe, and we did see record-breaking wind speed for England, the Needles, down in the Isle of Wight, 122 miles per hour. We'll have a look at that in a little more detail when we go through my Twitter feed in a minute, and we'll see, I'll say why it's a little bit of a sketchy value. But you can see generally we still have a lot of showers around, and they are returning more to sort of wintry nature. We've had a lot of heavy snow over Scotland, and we'll see some images for that in a minute as well. And a lot of these showers are turning wintry, so we do have very cold air filtering in behind the storm, and that fueled the storm, making it as intense as it was. So we have a lot of wintriness around, could be some ice around, and some heavier hail, sleet, graupel, or even snow showers. Even down to central, southern areas, you could be seeing some wintriness within the heavier pulses. Again, I wouldn't rely exactly on these radars for precipitation types, because in this sort of scenario, some of these greens showing rain could be wintry, some of the blues showing snow could be rain. It's very difficult to tell. All depends on intensity, slight elevation gains, wind speeds, all these sort of things can you have to take into factor. But if you are seeing showers over the course of this evening, which is many northern areas and western areas, and across central southern areas, it is likely they could be wintry of nature. So do keep an eye out for that. But for the moment, the heaviest rain, general precipitation, or big massive precipitation, and the strongest winds have now passed, fortunately, and it is now just a lot of showers, blustery showers, and squally winds, with still strong amber warning gusts, but not quite as strong as earlier. Now, if we do go onto my Twitter feed and have a look, if we do scroll down to the start, now you can see earlier today we saw the highest wind gust on record in England, down in the Needles on the Isle of Wight, 122 miles per hour. Now, it is very exposed. If you could just zoom in a little bit here, you can see the Isle of Wight there. It's very much exposed. It's almost pretty much out to sea. So that's why it's a little bit of a sketchy value, as it's about 20 miles per hour higher than elsewhere. Inland, we saw 70, 80 miles per hour. We'll see some of those gusts in a minute. So, yeah. Record-breaking wind strengths, but again, it is the Isle of Wight out in the Needles, so it is very, very exposed, and that's where we'd expect to see the strongest gusts. And it doesn't really reflect most areas where people people might be affected by the wind. So it's a nice value to see, or an interesting value to see. I wouldn't say it's a good value because it is destructive, of course, but not necessarily reflecting what we saw elsewhere. Now, if we do scroll up 7 hours ago, so this is around midday time, about 11. You can see the latest wind gusts. This was pretty much the peak of the storm, really. Widely 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts through all these regions. Now, these mostly further westwards, and these winds transferred further eastwards. And luckily, we were potentially anticipating real bad winds in that red warning zone in the southeast. They were bad, but they weren't as bad as it could have got, and how some models were anticipating. It was generally, if I'd say, within the most pessimistic or the most optimistic models, the actual event did probably follow some of the more optimistic models, only forecasting 75 mile per hour gusts, max gusts in the London area, instead of 85 miles per hour. So that is a good thing. Red warning, again, I made a video earlier and explained why. It was a little bit sketchy. Red warning coming into force at 4 a.m. Not many people were able to see that until the red warning was in force at around 10 a.m. And not too much time really to prepare for it. As most people, by the time most people wake up, would have woken up this morning, those winds would have been coming in very, very quickly. So, yeah, red warning was issued. I think it is warranted on what the model data was, but I think they should have made a decision on sticking with it or not last night, or at least yesterday afternoon, so that people had necessary precautions. But it was issued in the end. It was warranted. Some people may say it wasn't, but it's better to be safe than sorry, I think. And hopefully it did help some people stay safer. And if we do scroll up, you can see some videos from the storm case. Very good account. Now this, you can see these very short and waves off in the ocean. Very severe, and then another image. Very, very bad seas. And this is why a lot of ferry services and there was shipping lanes were basically told to close over the last sort of 12 hours or so. If you scroll up, this is 3 hours ago. This is as the storm slowly sort of petered away, and as it was exiting further eastward. So this is just as the red warning was expiring, and you can see widely still 70 to 80 mile per hour gusts. Heathrow, 70 mile per hour gusts. So as I said, in the London area, 70, 75 miles per hour quite widely in terms of Mach gusts. Again, these are certified weather stations. There'll be areas that saw higher than this, areas that saw lower than this. These are just a general spread. So yeah, 70 to 80 mile per hour wind gusts were seen widely in central and east areas, not quite as high as the 85 mile per hour gusts we were seeing on some of the models. So that is a good thing, as I said earlier. If you do scroll up again, you can see there was significant damage to O2. Many of you probably have seen this. I think it's got worse than this image is showing now. So that's a lot of damage, and good thing that hopefully they, I don't know what the situation was there. Hopefully they did close the O2 and people were not in there when this happened, or at least were evacuated very quickly. It's very dangerous with this, could fly debris going around. So yeah, it just shows you the scale of this storm, why an amber and red warning was put in force. If you scroll up again, you can see here a bit more of a funny video of a man getting caught up in the wind and falling over. Doesn't look like he got hurt, luckily, but it just shows you how bad the wind is, and how if you get caught in a gust and it sort of whips up, funnels, it can take you off your feet. It just shows you how devastating the storm was for some, and hopefully over the next sort of 12 hours, 24 hours, as things come apparent, as we see what has been left out by this storm. As of course, right now we don't have all the details. Some areas may be cut off, we don't know about. Some areas may have significant damage that we don't know about. We'll find that out over the next couple of days, and hopefully, fingers crossed, it isn't bad as as we have seen yesterday. And you can just see there, there's been a fatality, unfortunately, in Ireland, and I pray for the family of that man. Hopefully we don't see any of those numbers rise, but unfortunately it likely there have been some injuries and casualties with this storm. If you scroll up again, you can see there was significant snowfall over the higher ground of Scotland, because of course the main thing with this has been the wind, but over Scotland we saw significant snowfall, 10 to 30 centimetres of snow, and there's still warnings in force for that, we'll see in a minute. And you can see another BBC article here, and this is from much earlier in the morning in the southwest, as those winds were arriving. A massive tree taken down in Bude as Storm Eunice arrived. Just imagine if that had fallen on a car or something, and that's why in these red warning zones people say stay at home, because these trees topple very, very quickly, stay stable, and then very quickly topple, and if you got caught under that, very much the car would be demolished. And this is why the red warnings would have put in force, because this sort of scenario likely happened hundreds of times up and down the country. And yeah, just kind of keep everyone safe. So if we now have a look at the weather warnings, you can see we still have an amber and ice warning with warnings going all the way to Monday. As I said, it's going to remain pretty unsettled and stormy. Now, we have the wind warning in force, and it expires in a couple hours' time, luckily. So fingers crossed nothing too much happens, but still, if we have a look, 60 to 70 mile per hour gusts and maybe 80 to 90 mile per hour gusts around the coast. But as I said, that should be easing quite significantly now. The strongest winds will probably be further in the east and under the blustery showers, where a bit of convection can bring down some upper level winds, some squally winds there. The ice warning that has been put in force earlier today at 10:30. Again, if snow falling and it's a bit of a wintry mix now to lower lying areas, could give a few centimetres of snow, and again another 10 to 15 centimetres over Scottish mountains. And as I said, risk of icy roads and pavements as surfaces left wet by showers or hail, snow, slush, then fall below freezing, and the showers should ease. Again, it is highly likely lower impact as we're not seeing significant snow, but it's possible to see a few centimetres to any elevated areas and even to low-lying areas. Again, as I said, could be some ice around. If we look at Saturday, that ice warning still in force. We still have a yellow warning down the southwest, as we still have further strong winds in southern areas, which could hamper recovery efforts from Storm Eunice. And you can see 60 miles per hour or 40 to 50 miles per hour inland, so a good 20 to maybe 30 miles per hour weaker than today, which is good. But as I said at the start of the video, if we have got infrastructure that's damaged, trees damaged, power lines that are damaged, that don't appear damaged, of course, and just weakened, even a gust of 40 or 50 miles per hour could bring something down. So please do stay vigilant out there, even though the stronger warnings are now going away. We still have a wind and rain warning in the north, as it looks like we're seeing another vigorous low pressure system move in. Very strong winds are expected across parts of Northern Ireland, Scotland, and some Irish Sea coasts. Again, quite high impact and quite likely, or quite unlikely at this stage. And if that likeliness moves up, I would be surprised to see an amber warning put in force for this, but we'll have to see exactly what happens with that. And a rain warning here, heavy rain, to lead to some disruption. 75 to 100 millimetres of rain possible in a few spots. And finally, have a look at Monday, still have that widespread wind warning in force. So now if we have a look at the UKMS office run, have a look at precipitation, wind speed and temperature. Now you can see those wintry showers and snow moving in from the west, continuing over the next few hours, but slowly fading away, especially further southwards and eastwards. Still continuing over northern Scotland, that's why, of course, we have that ice warning. Then we see another precipitation band move in, turning to quite heavy snow over higher ground of northern England, northwest England, but just a band of rain through tomorrow morning. And then things clear for a time, still quite blustery out there, as we've seen the warnings, and then a big low pressure system moves in for Sunday. Snow over high ground, widespread rain elsewhere, and that continues over the following hours. It looks like a squall line may be sinking southwards as well, before things slowly turn more showery, unsettled, a lot of precipitation, wintry showers moving through, could see some snow, even to low-lying areas with colder air pushing in, and just generally a very unsettled theme before more weatherfront showers and northwesterly winds push in. If you have a look at the wind gusts, it's going to be strong. You can see, as of 4 p.m, those wind gusts are still very strong along the south coast or general coastal areas, and still 60 to 80 miles per hour possible down the eastern side of the country. Now, those winds should ease over the course of the evening, so by midnight, most areas down to gusts around 30 to 40 miles per hour. So much weaker, but still could be blustery out there. As we head through Saturday morning to around lunchtime, now you can see very strong winds in the southwest, and that's why we have that yellow warning in force, 60 to 70 miles per hour. And beyond that, we do start to see winds go for a bit of a lull through Saturday evening before more wind gusts pick up. And you can see, as we head through Sunday morning, you see very strong winds arrive from the west again. Could be another named storm with this, perhaps. I don't know, we'll have to see. See, 90 miles per hour off the coast of Northern Ireland is weakening, but very possible we could be seeing something named there before winds do die down, before more weather fronts move in with stronger winds in once again from the west. Now, if we look at max temperatures, it's going to be very much up and down over the next couple of days. Now, if we do move through, you can see over the course of the evening, many areas are going to drop down to just above freezing, really. Pretty chilly indeed. And then we're going to just see a continual up and down temperatures. Maybe 7, 8, 9 degrees at times in the south. maybe even 10, 11 degrees before a colder front will move through. It's sort of oscillating between warmer and colder sectors, maybe 2 or 3 degrees at times through Monday, quite a chilly day, perhaps, and you just see a lot of up and down temperatures. So very much, I just keep an eye on keep an eye on your weather apps. I don't normally say weather apps are the best, but for temperatures at this stage, it's not showing anything massively cold or massively mild by any means, but there's going to be a lot of up and down in temperatures, so it's very difficult to say exactly which regions are going to be seeing the temperatures or what temperatures, because some days it's going to be very cold in the north and it's going to be mild in the south, and that's just the nature of a westerly flow like this, where on the north side of the jet stream it's cold, south side it is mild, so it's going to be a lot of up and down temperatures, but generally the further northwards you are, the more likely it's going to be colder, the further southwards you are, the more likely you to be in a milder sector, but there still will be some chillier, maybe frosty, wintry conditions, or at least a little bit wintry conditions for a period of time. Now, if we do have a look at the GFS and the GFS Ensembles, we'll run through this quite quickly, as again, our main part of this video is looking at Stormy Eunice and the aftermath of that. Now, you can see Stormy Eunice moving out through the North Sea, and we're just going to see repeated low pressure systems moving in from the west, and it's this low pressure system perhaps through Sunday into Monday that we're looking at could be pretty severe. And as we said, very strong winds perhaps with this, and just a continual very strong winds, really. And that's just going to continue. If we just stay in the United Kingdom, we can see all these lows riding through. And towards the end of the run, we actually do build in high pressure, interestingly. Now, we haven't been paying too much attention to the longer range models over the last couple of days, as we have been focusing on the storms. But Scandinavian high, potentially trying to get going, or at least just being more settled. It wouldn't be too cold, as we're not getting that much of a bitterly cold easterly wind, but it would be chilly with the air coming in from the continent. So, looking like the GFS is showing things settling down significantly, which would be a bit of a change, or quite a big of a change to what we have recently with very stormy weather. Very interesting seeing that, and we'll keep an eye on that over the next few days. Now, if we finish up having a look at the GFS ensembles, you can see unsettled over the next few days. Rainfall will mainly be in the north, but we still see some rainfall in the south. Up and down temperatures, seeing those really rocketing up and down to above freezing, and then down to -5, -6, -7 degrees at 50 HP, and that can continue. That's going to continue over the next week or so, and then generally temperatures are going to be around or above average to the end winter and start spring. Could still be a bit of up and down within that, but at this stage you're looking above average temperatures. So yeah, looking still unsettled. Though that operational run showing high pressure does look like it's a bit of an outline. If we have a look at the sea level pressure, you can see, yeah, the operational run, the thicker green line, is well above the average of the ensemble members, which are, most of them are lower in pressure. So looks like unsettled theme's going to continue at least for the next week, and then a bit of uncertainty comes in beyond that. But of course, the main focus is on the impacts of the windy, wintry weather coming up over the next few days, and of course the aftermath of Stormy Eunice. Just want to continue to say that there are still strong winds out there, even though the main centre of the storm with the red warnings has now passed. There still can be some disruption, and I do urge you all to take the necessary precautions, and please do stay safe out there. So anyway, thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you again for another video soon.